right, so you said this morning that this could probably be gang-related. Do you guys have any more idea or suspicion that this is gang-related, and if it's connected to the other shootings we saw yesterday, particularly just down the street?
We don't know if it's connected to that shooting. We're working on that. As far as being gang-related, some people involved are known gang members, for sure.
And in terms of suspect, have you guys gotten a description out there? Anyone in custody?
Nobody's in custody. We are actively looking for a suspect.
One suspect?
Multiple suspects.
Multiple suspects. Okay, gotcha. And then this club right here, Lavish Lounge, does this have any type of history of violent crime?
It just certainly got a history of a lot of calls for service, shootings here before, some fights here before, and that kind of thing. So we're working with SLED and Labor License and Registration Board to work on the license end of that. Obviously, with the coronavirus going on, there's some of those violations, executive order violations, and that kind of thing. So we're looking at getting their license revoked, alcohol license and business license.
And is there any indication of what started the violence?
Not really. I mean, there's about 5 different stories of what actually initiated it. We hadn't confirmed any of those.
Okay. Do you have a head count about how many people were in the building?
Possibly around 200.
Okay, 200, and that would have been over capacity.
Yeah, absolutely.
With current emergency orders. Okay, thank you.
Can you confirm any fatalities or what the injuries are?
Had 10 total that were involved that were injured. Out of those 10, 2 have passed away.
Would you like to add anything else? Is there anything else you can add?
Not much. Again, it's a very active investigation. We plotted the crime scene, and now we're inside the building, starting to work on that end of things and collect evidence. There's a lot to be collected in there, for sure. There's a large amount of blood inside the building, a lot of rounds that are spent, a lot of personal property belonging to people. Our deputies were coming down White Horse Road and saw a number of people coming out of the club, so they thought it was a fight of some kind, so they pulled in, and that's when they actually heard gunshots as they were here. So hearing that, they went in the building, went in the club, and tried to find the source of fire, rendering aid to people, calling for EMS and those kind of things. By that time, most everybody had left or was leaving, and they had transported several people to the hospital down here at Prisma on their own. EMS did arrive and transport 4 of the victims to the hospital.
I noticed there's still a lot of vehicles in the parking lot. Are people being held in the club for questioning or anything like that?
Not in the club. There were some here that we just released. We got all their information from them. Most of the cars that are left here are from people that jumped in another car and left their car here. There is a few cars that are part of the crime scene that will remain here. But for the most part, they're citizens or customer cars, patron cars, that people just have not came back and picked up yet.
Okay, one more question. Sure. I know this is your first July 4th as sheriff, but does this time of year, is this kind of typical to see this amount of violence that we've seen this July 4th this weekend?
Well, anytime you see this amount of violence, it's not typical at all. I mean, you're talking about 10 people shot in one place within minutes. There's nothing typical about this at all. So 4th of July is always a busy time, certainly for Greenville, and no matter whether it's DUI activity and traffic activity, we have a lot of calls for service normally on the 4th of July, as we did last night. We had a very high volume of calls. But again, from a violence standpoint, this will certainly be the biggest.
And is the Sheriff's Office currently worried about any type of retaliation acts based off of the fight that happened inside?
We're certainly looking at that and prepared for it. Again, a lot of that comes with our suspect information, so we're following up on those things.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sheriff.
You're welcome.